There are a lot of places I have not been. This is about experiencing one of those places for the very first time and how I captured it through photography. This is about New York City, plus a few photography tips. So this video is going to be somewhat of a hybrid. It's going to include 3 tips for better photography. And in this case, better street photography. And then it's also going to be just a few reflections about my trip to New York City, because it was my very first time to go to the city. I got to see it with fresh eyes, and it was a special time. So here we go. I have 3 tips, and the first one is know where your light is. Always be aware of your light source and where it is, and also where it's going to be. These light sources can be things that are stationary, such as a lamppost or street lights, or they can be moving sources, such as the sun or the moon or car lights. Always be aware of where your light source is coming from so you can better interact with it. Now, how you choose to interact with this light source is up to you and your style, but being aware of this is key to framing your subject and getting your shot. I tend to shoot from the shadow side of my subject, where my subject is in front of my light source, causing some sort of a shadow. I feel like this creates depth and a little more drama in the shot as compared to shooting on the same side as my light source. If you're shooting from the light source side, they can tend to get a little washed out. At least that's my opinion. Tip number 2 is pay attention to your thirds. You have left, right, and center. A good practice is to align your subject or whatever you want your audience to pay attention to on one of the thirds. You can then take the shot or adjust to where you want your subject to be. If your subject is right in the center, it's easier for a viewer to find the focal point and appreciate the shot more. The attention span of most people is already so short, so the last thing you want to do is make them hunt for your subject or the meaning that you're trying to show in your image. It's better to keep your subject or your focal point on one of the thirds, left, right, or center. And a lot of times it's kind of a go-to just to put it in the center, because a lot of times that's automatically where people go, is to the center of the image. In doing this, they'll be able to spend more time appreciating your art or seeing the message that you're trying to portray to them. This is a solid rule to always follow, but it's also one that is great to break at times. I like to follow this rule of thirds as an initial framing tool. So I will check in the viewfinder or waist level, align my subject in one of the thirds, and then after that, see if I want to break the rule by changing my framing in one way or another, and then capture the shot. Tip number 3 is always have a subject. This is straightforward. I always try to have some type of subject in my photos, specifically people. Having a person as a subject is important because it helps the viewer relate to the shot more, helps them see it as if they were in it. It's also just more interesting. Without people in my photos, it's just an empty path or a street or alley, and even if the light is really pretty, it won't be more interesting than if you had a person in the shot interacting with the light and in the setting. What I want to do more with my photos is just transport the people who are seeing them into the setting, envisioning themselves in the atmosphere that is captured there, to where maybe they can feel what's going on, or they know what it's like to be walking in the same path, or it brings a memory up where were in a similar situation. That's what I want to do with my photos. That's what I want to do with my art, is connection. And I feel like having a subject in my photos is the first and the easiest step towards bridging and making that connection. While in New York, I shot on 2 separate focal lengths, 35mm and 50mm. I didn't want to just go into the city and just capture it all on one focal length and everything kind of look the same and have the same vibe and feel. I wanted to get a variation. This video is showcasing everything that was shot on the 35mm, which really means I shot all of these photos on the X100V because it has that full frame equivalent. There will be another video coming out soon with all the shots that I took on the 50mm. It's rare I get to experience something new like this for the very first time without any outside influence. If you've experienced this or you do this as well, let me know in a comment, but my personality tends to lean towards feeling like I have to experience something in the same way that someone else is experiencing it if I'm with them. Like I need to take things in the same way others do, need to feel the same emotions as they are, so I don't know, we can get along better. Sounds really silly saying this, but it's true. In saying that, getting to see the city with completely fresh eyes, with no other outside influence, was special and perfect. I took it in solely through my own eyes and my own lenses, and it wasn't tainted or influenced by a friend or family or someone I'm with. I just got to just soak it in as I saw it, and I loved it. I'm not a proponent for doing everything alone and by yourself though, just putting that out there. I'm actually trying to do less of that in my life in every area. I'm trying to be in better community with people around me and creators to create bigger and cooler stuff and just avoid loneliness. So just saying that. At this moment in my life, I'm loving photography more and more. And I'm beginning to sense and build and realize styles that I enjoy more. For years, I was just straight video. I took photos if I needed to, but it was not something that I dabbled in as a hobby, even though that's what all of this started as, was a hobby through photography. I'd kind of just put that off and focused mainly on video. And it's really cool, and it's, I don't know, therapeutic even, to dive back into that and explore different ways of photography and different looks and different styles. I'm finding that photography in this medium is very thoughtful and it's very reflective. And this experience of shooting in New York was just that. Being around so many people who were all so different from me and from each other was so cool to take in. I've been to many big cities, but this was different. I've never experienced a city like this. Capturing small moments and exploring the city and then seeing people interact and move. It sounds hokey and weird, but it helped me love people more. Love how we're not all the same. And I think that's something that photography is teaching me right now, is to appreciate everything, of course, but even and specifically the things that are different than me. As always, thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you've made it this far into the video, drop me a comment below if you've had a awesome experience in New York. What are some of your favorite places to visit and see and capture in photo and video? Just tell me about your experiences. I love to read some of those. I'll be going back in a couple weeks with my wife for another trip into New York, a long weekend, and we'll be exploring some more. And if something catches my eye in one of your comments, I'd love to check that out as well. There'll be more coming out soon. Again, thank you guys. Talk to you soon.